giant orange records.
Now look, I know that the Buddha says comparison is the thief of happiness, but the Buddha is also not a record collector. So tonight we're going to look at some different pressings of an early Rolling Stones record. Here I give you mono copies of December's Children. Mono is the way to go with the early Stones music because they use this fake duophonic stereo or something and they sound awful. Got this one from Papa Jazz for a whopping $3 in 2013 or so. And I got this one at Record Stop Charleston in 2023 for a whopping $29.98 US dollars. Now, these may look the same. The one from Record Stop says original pressing, and that is correct. Because if you look at the one over here, this one's actually, the sleeve is in better shape. This pressing on the left versus the right. This one has more ring wear, and this one not so much. But anyway, this pressing here is from 1966. It has this very red label, and this is a US version on London Records. It's got some scratches on it, but it still plays pretty good. And then this one is the Allentown pressing. It's an original press from 1965, and it has a maroon label versus, the red versus maroon here. And now let's put these under some bright light and see which record's in better shape. Now here is the 1966 mono pressing. As you can see, this baby's pretty marked up and it's got some pretty deep scratches there. I rated this one at a VG minus, which is not something Discogs uses, but a lot of old school record guys would say that's a pretty fair grading. And then here is the 1965 original press from the Allentown pressing plant. As you can see, this one has some marks on it, but a whole lot less. And at a record store, you can pull out a record, or you can even ask them to play it. And then you can see how many marks are on it. And sometimes it is a good indication of the record's condition. And sometimes the marks don't matter as much as you might think. It's just, if you can feel it with your finger and you can't feel the mark, then you're probably going to be in pretty good shape. But is this record worth $27 more than this one? I don't know. That's a tough call to make. I wouldn't have gotten this one if I didn't forget that I already had this one. But, I'm trying to collect all the Rolling Stones in mono. It'd be cool to get the Decca versions from the UK, but they're pretty hard to find here in the US, so I'll have to stick with the London records for now. Now what I'm going to do here is cue up this 1966 version, the one that I've had for about 10 years, and play the dead wax because that's not copyright. Here with the 1965 original press, we'll do the same thing. I can already hear less noise rewinding it by hand. But then we want to cue it up and play it at full speed. So in conclusion, I will say that the 1965 original press does actually sound a bit better. It's in somewhat better condition. I would conservatively grade this one as a VG, while this 1966 edition, I would call that a VG minus. Does it make that much difference? The more you crank it up, the more you can hear these things, and the better your hi-fi rig is, the more you're going to hear the differences in condition. Now, I guess since I'm a record nerd, I'm going to keep the original pressing and I'll probably give the other one to a friend or something because it's probably not worth selling a $3 record on Discogs unless it's turned into, I don't know, a $15 or $20 record. Then maybe I could use that to help pay for this uh, one that's literally 10 times more expensive than the one that I've had for 10 years. The joy of record collecting. This record is so loud. The guitars are cut super loud, and to me, this is what rock and roll sounds like, or 60s rock and roll anyway, mid 60s rock. It is just loud, gnarly. The guitar tones are like what guitars should sound like. The vocal just has so much attitude. The drumming, bass playing, and keyboard playing is all so on point. Just everything about this is right. And I'll say side one has almost all covers. The only original on side one is a song called The Singer, Not the Song. The Singer, Not the Song has some really, really out of tune guitars on it. I'm kind of surprised that the producer let that pass, but those were different times. And side two is really strong. I mean, get off my cloud. I'm free. As tears go by. Gotta get away. Blue turns to gray. I'm moving on. But I will say that this copy here does sound quite significantly better. And after listening to it all the way through, I would have to probably change my rating from strong VG to just plain old VG plus. I mean, the second track has a little bit of noise that you can hear, but the rest of it's super clean, and there are quite a few quieter songs on this record, so it's a nice little upgrade.